Happy Tuesday morning. I would like to tell you the heartwarming story of Douglas. But before I do, meet Douglas. Douglas was born in the beginning of July. Here's some baby pictures of him. He's so adorable. He was born into a litter, and fortunately for Douglas, he had a new family waiting for him, and his new family had kids, so he was going to get to grow up in a family of kids. Now, while Douglas was like a lot of little puppies, rambunctious and full of energy, Douglas was a little bit different in that he loved being loved. He loved giving love, and he was so proud of his zoomies that he would show it off, just a little bit of love, and he would run and do his zoomies, and I'm telling you, it's adorable. So when Douglas and his litter mates all turned 8 weeks old, they went in for their very first appointments, doctor appointments, to get their very first shots so that they could be ready to go to their forever homes. And as always, everyone fell in love with Douglas. Douglas did such a great job, and he was so full of energy, and all of his litter mates, they got their shots, they got checked out. Only Douglas had something a little bit different happening with his heart. So while his litter mates got to go home and be back with their mom, Douglas had to go to a specialty hospital and see the people there in the cardiology department. And of course, everyone in that cardiology department fell immediately in love with Douglas, especially the lead who was taking care of him. This is Douglas at that appointment at the cardiology department, and this is him sleeping on the lead who was taking care of him, where he pretty much stayed most of the day as she did her work. And sleeping there on her shoulder was the safest place that Douglas could be, because Douglas had a heart condition. Typically that happens to German Shepherds, where he could easily die in his sleep. It's a very serious condition and most often fatal unless it's treated right away. With treatment, which is taking medicine 3 times a day and constant monitoring, he has a chance. He has a chance. And if he lives to the age of 2, he most likely will grow out of it. So the lead at the hospital, she called his new family to tell them what he was going to need from this day forward: medicine and monitoring and a lot of exercise. His heart needed to get big and strong. And unfortunately, the mom was a single mom, and she had 2 kids, and she wasn't going to be able to give him that kind of care. So the lead cardiology specialist called the breeder and told the breeder what he was going to need, the medicine he needed, and the care it would take to keep him alive. And unfortunately, the breeder did not believe in medication for puppies. Just absolutely heartbroken, that lead cardiology specialist went home and couldn't sleep for the next 3 days. All she thought about was Douglas and what he was going to need, and nobody was going to give it to him. The breeder said that she would make him as comfortable as he could be and happy as he could be until he passed away in his sleep. But that specialist had fallen in love with that little boy, and she, on her day off, which was not protocol, called that breeder and said, "Can I give him a chance to live?" The breeder started crying and said, "Please, I think this was meant to be. I would love it if you gave him a chance at life. I think that you were meant to be a part of his life." So the specialist and the breeder cried together and made plans that the breeder would bring the baby, Douglas, to the specialist's house. Now, that specialist wasn't really in a position to have a dog. She had a young son who was about to start school. Her mother was dealing with a brain tumor, and her husband have a dog who is ailing and may be going over the Rainbow Bridge soon. So she wasn't in a position, but she was the only chance Douglas had. So this last Saturday and Labor Day weekend, Douglas came to his new home to live out whatever life he has in the happiest way possible. And as you probably guessed, that specialist is my daughter, and Douglas is my grand dog. And my daughter was given the gift of giving Douglas a chance at life that he didn't have before they met. So we're welcoming him into our family, and I will keep everybody updated as to how he's doing.